Good evening, Gearheads. Welcome to your Sunday night with Speed City. This is Jon Massengale sitting across from Jonathan Green. How are you, Mr. Green?
I'm very well.
Are you footballed out?
No, not really. I did a good football weekend though. I did soccer and football this weekend. My soccer team won their first match of the season, and they won it 5-0, so pretty convincing.
5-0. That's the most ever scored on one side, isn't it?
It's not bad. Actually, there's higher scores than that, but five will do.
5 will do. Mr. Bob Varsha is joining us from his home studio in Atlanta. How are you, Bob?
I'm doing great, thanks. Good to see you guys again. I've managed to control the tremors of a week without Formula One racing.
Good.
So, I'll make it, I think, to next weekend.
Now,
It should be a lot of fun in Baku.
Have we all recovered from last weekend? Oh, my gosh.
Wow, that was just the most bizarre 6-hour race I've ever been part of.
Well, which one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 6-hour race or the
Monza.
74-minute race in Monza that we were a part of both of those that weekend.
Busy.
Somebody asked me who's involved in motorsports. They said, what are you doing this weekend? I said, we're doing Monza and Le Mans at Austin. And they were like, well, which
Wow.
one? I said, both.
Both.
And they said, how are you doing that? I said, I'm not sure yet. We hadn't actually mapped it all out, but we made it work.
They're a team of 30 people.
I
That's right.
haven't heard anything bad from anybody on the feedback. Did we call somebody the wrong sport? So yeah, so far so good.
I hadn't even thought of it until you mentioned it as we were wrapping up the day, that we had done the two biggest races in the world using 2 studios and 3 announcers.
And to be fair, and I don't take any solace from this, but you guys started at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
and you were still going at
Well,
6 o'clock at night.
And Bob forgot one key ingredient. He said 3 announcers. We actually were 4 because without Chris Medlin,
That's true.
There's no way we could have.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we had Chris for the Grand Prix.
But yeah, we were. Chris was live on site in Monza, and we were at COTA. So
And
yeah.
a big shout out to Ford. Big help for us. They brought us some great guests. And also Jake Pollock came in, another young up-and-coming driver. We've got one coming on tonight as well, if he remembers to call.
These young drivers. Yeah, that Ford Mustang Challenge Series was really fun.
It's kinda
at
cool.
COTA. Yeah. Launch Le Mans was awesome. It was a little slow getting started. We sat behind the safety car for a full hour.
That's something I've never
Yeah.
experienced either.
Yeah. Well, it rained for 5 hours.
Yeah, and it was never really. It was predicted that there would be thundery showers on Sunday, but it never said it was
No
going to
lightning.
rain
Yep.
all day long.
Right. It just was a light rain, not a drizzle, but a light rain, and for at least 4.5 hours.
But when the page stepped up with the flag, the whole heaven thing opened.
Yeah. Anyway, it was fun. All right, we're gonna, like Jonathan said, we have Nikita Johnson, young FIA F3 driver,
American,
not regional, but an FIA F3 driver.
Just
He's worked his
17,
way
by
up
the
the
way, which is why I'm particularly interested in his progress, because he's way younger than most and a lot more experienced than most at his age. He's done GB3 this year, he's done Indy Next this year, and FIA F3. So the boy's busy.
And we are going to talk lots of Formula One to talk about because we've got a very interesting COTA story to talk about. We've got the broadcast rights to talk about. We've got some more from Cadillac. They released a nice, Formula One did it, actually, a nice video interview with Graham Loudon, team principal. We're going to talk about the potential sale of the series, Formula One by Liberty Media. We got lots to talk about. I think I'm going to start with right here locally.
Okay.
Bobby Epstein is optimistic about a new deal for the United States Grand Prix because next year the deal they have currently expires.
Yeah,
at
I've
the
been
end of
wondering
26.
about this. Yeah,
I think it's a done deal.
I honestly, don't mess with success.
Yeah. Well, and
you don't walk away from a weekend total of 400,000 fans.
Nah.
Yeah.
It's a huge success, as COTA, and now that the other two are bedded in, you can't say, oh, they're going to distract, or the people aren't going to go.
That's right. Proof's in the pudding.
Proof is in the pudding.
Right.
I think geographically, they're far enough apart. In the calendar, they're far enough apart, and also as events, they're very different. All three.
Yeah, just a couple of quotes from Bobby that I'll read here. He spoke to a bunch of us media, and he said, conversations are ongoing with Formula One, and I think we're optimistic. He said, I have little doubt they want to do anything but continue, and likewise do we. So that's a pretty good starting point for a conversation. There hasn't been any sense of urgency on either one of our ends, I don't think, he says. And when it's time to come, we'll and the
Well,
time will come, we'll get an agreement.
Maybe
So,
they should do George Russell's contract as well then.
yeah, there's no urgency there.
There's no urgency there. So,
And-
but he reading between the lines, he was kind of sort of hinting that there would be something. I mean, he mentioned the Paddock Club, right?
That's it. The
Okay.
special. Yeah.
And I can see physically from last weekend, we both saw it, the new stairs that go up to a new little mini grandstand that will be great for photographers and fans that goes from turn 2 up to the top of turn 1, but on the inside. Sorry, on the outside.
Yeah.
The outside.
Yeah. I don't, but he was hinting at something else. I don't know what, but.
Yeah, he didn't say, I'll read it. He says, so I think what they, F1, would like to see is a bigger Paddock Club, and we're looking at creating something incredibly special that I hope we unveil along with a contract extension. I think the contract extension is going to happen next month at the USGP.
At the USGP.
I don't have any, there's no
No, but
of that,
it makes sense. Everybody's there. You sign, you shake hands, punch the flesh.
He says, so it'll be a Paddock Club unlike any Paddock Club anyone has currently. He says, so that's what we're looking at and what we're talking about, and we're very excited. So,
that's interesting. That's in case you think that everybody gets along. There's from what Bobby had to say, a pretty heated competition between race locations. Now, we all know, our dedicated fans know, that there is more potential venues out there than there's room for on the calendar. Currently at 24 races, they probably will go to 25, but we'll find that out later in the year. But just staying in the good graces of the people who make up the schedule every year is a really make or break kind of proposition for these racetracks. So coming up with something that nobody else has or nobody's ever seen before, it's not just a juvenile competition, it's serious business.
I think COTA's got the trump card to play, and that is they've had over 400,000 for the last 3 years. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Since 2021, they've had 400,000 people out there. That's pretty hard to say no to.
And location-wise, it couldn't be closer to the city itself compared to a lot of other events. It also has a fantastic nightlife that city offers, and it also always brings great bands or concerts to the 3-day weekend. And again, they've hit it out the park with the choices they've made every time.
Oh, yeah. And you haven't even mentioned the actual track itself, which... in early days we just gushed about, but now that it's been around for 12 years, it is becoming one of those. If you ask a lot of racers, a lot of hardcore fans, the people that really pay attention to the track and kind of things, if you ask the majority of people, it's going to be in top 10 in a lot of people's lists.
I think so,
if not higher,
and that goes for two wheels as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's rare. One last thing on this, Bobby said, we might get close to a new record in attendance. It's still early still. I just know we're already in the top 3, he said.
Yeah.
So that means they've sold over 400,000 tickets.
Yeah.
So,
unless we forget, COTA's in the unique position, unlike a lot of the other circuits, Vegas and Miami, that they don't have MotoGP, which we do.
Yep. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. All right. Next story I wanted to talk about was that it's looking... again, very likely that the rumors are going to be true and that Apple is going to be the one to take over the Formula One broadcast from ESPN. Now, that one's not as secure, I think, as COTA's, but I think the sources are all saying it's leaning that direction. It's got to be the F1 movie that kind of pushed it over the edge, right?
Okay. I mean, obviously, Apple, we've seen that article that you put in the show. The head of Apple commercial side was saying that, we're quite deep into talks. Who else? And also the talk from Liberty is it's not just about showing the races anymore. And I think the F1 movie proved that. Apple have think about what you could do with the iPhone. Think about what think about Apple's tentacles for product. Look what they've done with Lego. Look what they've done with other products. The tech companies are all over Formula One now, and but Apple does stand alone, so it's not going to upset a Cisco or a IBM or a Oracle because they're different. They're all different, and so I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It was down to Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and ESPN, I believe. Bob, would you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
Excuse me.
That was the obvious.
And I think Jonathan hit the nail on the head, because what Formula One has been very forthright about is they want to create something more than just showing the races.
Yeah.
To me, that means they want, games and all sorts of internet-related stuff. And if you want new tech, where better to go than Apple?
Yeah, it makes you think what they could do. We were working with WEC this weekend, and they have lots of competitions and decibel meters and photo cameras. I mean, put the brains of Apple behind it, or any of the top tech companies. And there's so much you could do with QR codes, with so many tech pieces. That you could only, if you have an Apple phone, of course, that's what they're going to be pushing. You can enter this. You know what I mean? They're going to use it across the board. The only problem they've got, Apple, because we should be looking at Apple's deal more from the United States, because what they don't want to do is all the other broadcast deals they have
around the world,
like with Star TV in Asia and Australia, and so on and so forth. Those are big earners.
Yeah, you don't want to cause a problem.
I hope too that they create a truly American broadcast product for Formula One. Nothing against Sky TV or any of the rest, but it's never sat right with me. And I know this is a jaded opinion, if you like, but you want to hear Americans talking about Americans. So I hope they'll take that into account. Although, having said that, it's quite something to put together a broadcast crew and a decent product when you've never done live television before, to the best of my knowledge. And I've worked with some other TV brands, if you want to call them that, who did not have that live TV capability before. And it can be a real task putting a crew together. There's plenty of talent out there in front of and behind the camera. But you have to come together with the goal of making an American television show, I think.
And I don't think it's just that people want to, and you're probably saying this in a different way. You're saying people want an American broad. Yeah, they do. But I think it's also just the cultural references, especially to new people. The British use different words for different things like we do. And it's
bonkers.
And so it just doesn't come across the same, and I think that is part of it. So
Americans are absolutely obsessed with stats in their fandom, as it were, for sports. Less so in other countries. I get it, but as the non-American between the three of us here, I wholeheartedly agree with what Bob just said, because of now the information, and I think it's our duty as just one side of the media. It's our duty to be following Cadillac and Loudon and Colton Herta and the American stories, because now it's I would argue it's almost over 50% of the interest is American companies.
Yeah, well, perfect segue, because we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about Cadillac, because Graham Loudon has some new things to say about the Cadillac team. Back after these messages. All right, we're still live on YouTube.
Yeah, and
anybody
Andy
home
P.
on YouTube
Yeah, Andy
today?
P says, it would be really weird for COTA or Formula One to turn their back on COTA right now after the resurface and the popularity. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, no doubt. Mike Bowles is here too. Hey, Mike. Yeah, Andy. Excuse me. Yeah, no doubt. I think it would be. And Andy's going to be there. All right, we'll see you in a month, Andy. We never do any get together amongst the gang, right? And we should. I know we're all busy working, and that's the problem. But Kevin Kelly and I had a beer last year, if you recall, I think on the Monday afterwards. Maybe we should do it then, Andy. Maybe we should all, because, I would imagine.
Some catch up.
Yeah, I bet you. In fact, Kevin was catching a flight out that day. So Andy also says ESPN did just that by being ESPN. Apple need to find a way. Yeah.
Bruce Hill comes up with a good point. We need to come up with a term for Cadillac fans.
Oh, it's a good idea. All right, here we go.
Hi guys, this is Pierre Gasly and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, welcome back your Sunday night with Speed City.
Just signed a new contract, Mr. Gasly.
He did sign a new contract, that's right.
Right.
That is very cool.
And actually,
that's well-deserved.
A well-deserved contract. And he's been the unwritten story of the year, I think. Pierre Gasly has
last couple of years.
Yeah, I think he's outperformed what they are capable of. He's weathered the storm of a very odd and up and down couple of years for Alpine. And to be honest, he's made a good fist of it. And the other side of the garage, a bit like the Verstappen story, is sort of at sixes and sevens. We don't know who's in the car. We don't know what's going on. We don't know why. We don't know what Flavio really thinks. But Flavio has been really outward in his praise of Mr. Gasly.
Yeah, 3-year deal.
Yep, good.
3-year deal through
Deserves
2028.
I like that kid. I think he's good. He's not a kid anymore, but I like him. He's a good boy.
Yeah. Before we get to Cadillac, I promised that we talk about that. I want to continue on the path we were on, talking about Apple and new contracts and everything. I want to talk about Liberty Media, because Jon Malone, if you don't know who Jon Malone is, he was the CEO of Liberty Media forever. He just recently stepped down. I think he's about 84.
Yeah.
But still really...
He's the chairman still, yeah.
Yeah, he's still the chairman. And we have a little clip to play from him. They have a little podcast. I say a little. They do a podcast on the Opening Bid podcast. And he went on there. We just have like a 30-second clip here of what he was saying about the current state of Formula One and the possible sale of Formula One. Let's hear that clip now.
Well, I think the shareholders seem to love it right at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's really performing well. It has exceptionally good economic structure. It will be a very large free cash flow generator, which underwrites its high valuation. And there perhaps will be incremental synergistic add-ons. It still has a big brand to drive. Look, it's a public company. If somebody gets carried away and they want to buy it and they're willing to pay more for it than the board thinks that they can deliver to the shareholders, then we would sell it. I mean, that's the bottom line. Mm-hmm. But right now, it's gangbusters. And it's...
And like you said, if somebody comes along and says, we'll give you the share price plus 50%, the board would be, it would probably be in trouble if they didn't take a deal like that. Let's put it that way, because they have a responsibility to their shareholders.
Yeah. Well, presented with the question, I mean, John is more than smart enough to tell the world, never say never. If the right number comes along, as you say, they'd be derelict if they didn't accept it. But that doesn't mean Formula One's going on the block anytime soon.
No, and I really do think they've got to grow MotoGP. Not to the same size as Formula One, but they've got to make it a success. They need new content for MotoGP and something like Drive to Survive. It doesn't have to be that, but it needs something that will get people, because it is an amazing sport, MotoGP, and I don't think it gets anywhere near the accolades it deserves. And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people would put the fault at Dorna for being kind of a very Spanish-orientated group. Very successful in what they've done, but very myopic, I think, as a global view. That's my opinion.
So I'm just going back to what Malone said about the value of the company. The value of the stock has done really well, but the value of the teams...
Oh, that's nuts.
The current valuations of the team, I'll just run down them really quick. It's because Ferrari, 4.78 billion. Mercedes, 3.94 billion, Red Bull 3.5, McLaren 2.6, Aston 2.07, Alpine 1.5, Williams 1.2, Racing Bulls 1.2, Sauber 1.2, and Haas 1.02, all in the billions now.
Amazing.
I mean, really, would we have ever imagined that could happen? So, I mean, and just the value of just those teams together. I mean, what's that? Like $30 billion. Yeah.
Well, money attracts money, and we've seen in the recent couple of decades of Formula One, a lot of investors are just there to make money, topped by the man himself, Bernie Ecclestone, who practically bought and sold Formula One every, 3 or 4 years on average, to companies that didn't have any particular stake in Formula One emotionally or from a sporting perspective. They just wanted to get in, take advantage of all the multiples in the financial markets, and then sell. That's what they do. They do that with all kinds of properties. But with regard to Liberty, I don't know, it just strikes me that they've put so much into Formula One. They've got so much technology now. They're such a centerpiece on the internet and so on. They're the most popular form of motorsport in the world. I mean, somebody's got to have some kind of fascination and desire to keep improving the product rather than just getting in, not spending any money, and selling when the time is right. I don't think Liberty's going anywhere.
No. And I also think that the main two catalysts for those values are two things. One, the cost cap, and the return on investment, i.e., you know that if you're fifth in the Constructors' Championship, you can pretty much work out what you are going to get from the company that is Liberty Media as a team.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's a really good bet because you know that, hey, if I get, and even if you come last in the championship, you're gonna get a decent stipend, a couple of dollars.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the value as you go up the ladder is like 5 to 7 million at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is when you get towards the top. So every place you go up. So
and the F1 movie, of course, has just moved the needle even further.
Yeah. All right, let's talk Cadillac F1.
Caddies.
If you haven't been paying attention. Oh, the caddies?
The caddies.
That reminds me of...
nah.
Yeah. What's his name? Bill Murray is what comes to mind when you say caddy.
Right.
Well, it was one of the... It was Andy
Tifosi,
P. Yeah, saying we got to have a Cadillac.
No, it wasn't Andy. It was
wasn't it?
Bruce Hill. Was
saying,
okay,
Bruce. Well, what about caddies? No, there's got to be something cleverer than that.
Yeah, I don't know what would be.
Give me some Cadillac. The Pinkies?
No, it needs to be the, I don't know, let me think.
Gonga burning love. Elvis fans?
I don't know what it could be. Let's see, where are we going? We're going to go Cadillac, and we're going to talk about what Graham Loudon said, because he spoke to Lawrence Barretto on YouTube, and they put the article up on F1.com. It was really good, because they're on top of it, F1 is. They're staying very close to this story. And he talked about everything from both the drivers, of course, talked about that. He talked about the reserve position. In fact, he said, we haven't started looking, and we've made no offers to anyone for any reserve position with the team, which I thought that's Loudon, by the way. And he said, but that is now the position that we'll turn our attention to, and it helps complete the lineup.
Yeah,
but of course, Colton Herta.
Yeah.
That they named him as a test driver.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the idea that Colton is now he's announced he's leaving IndyCar and going to pursue Formula 2.
Yeah.
Assuming, I don't think he's officially announced that.
Well, it's because he hasn't got a team yet.
Yeah, right.
But I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, but I think
close.
it's a really smart idea. He only needs 8 super license points to be a Formula One Friday driver, if not a fully fledged Formula One driver. So anywhere in the top 10 in F2. It's not a given, but I think he has that ability.
But you got to get the right team and everything too. What do you think, Bob?
I think it's a very brave move by Colton Herta. Certainly, he's done very well in IndyCar, but in recent years, his results have kind of flattened out a little bit. He used to be a threat for every pole and every race, and hasn't quite been that way recently. But apart from that, Mark Hughes, Formula One writer for motorsport.com, recently brought up the point that he's got to understand that the guy who originally hired him, Michael Andretti, went to Formula One in 1993 with an IndyCar title in his pocket, and then completely declined to live the European lifestyle, to race like a full-time from his days as a kiddie in a cart to get to Formula One. Michael wanted to live in the United States, sleep in his own bed, fly over whenever he was needed. I asked him once about these drivers, young drivers particularly, who spend their time in the garage, who go there and do it the Senna way. You look into the eyes of the mechanics and you look what the engineers are thinking of for the future, and you give them your 2 cents and create that bond. both in terms of race car technology and personal relationships with the team. Michael didn't want to do that. When I asked why, he said, "They have my phone number."
Yeah,
Not exactly
it was a
confidence
mistake.
building.
It was a mistake.
So Colton Herta, Bob.
So that was
go ahead.
that was the point in the Hughes article was he's got to recognize that Michael did it the wrong way, and he's got to go in a different direction and really devote himself to it and just blow off all these people say, "Oh, you're taking a step back to Formula 2.
Yeah, it doesn't
Those
matter.
Formula 2 cats get the job done. So
Colton Herta, Bob, you said something, and I would have, had I not researched this a little further, would have agreed with you 100%, is that, so we saw Colton Herta win back in 2019 here at COTA, here in Austin, and we thought his career was up and up, but do y'all know where he finished last year in the championship?
Not offhand.
Second. He finished second to Alex Palou, and it was very close. It was only 30 points away, 31 points to be. He had the same number of wins, the same number of poles, and the same number of top 10s, and almost the same number of top 5s as Alex Palou, which you just feel like his career's on a steep incline. And Colton Herta finished second last year. He just didn't have a great year this year.
Yeah, he's had like Bob said, he's had a pretty mediocre year.
But I want to go. I dug into the archives, and I found the interview that we did with Colton Herta. I'm sure you will remember when I play it because he said something funny at the beginning. But we grabbed him in the booth at COTA in 2019.
Gosh,
he had just started with.
I was still in shorts.
Yeah, and he became the youngest winner ever in IndyCar. So here's Colton Herta in 2019. Still out here at Circuit of the Americas, and we have the winner of the race, Colton Herta. Congratulations, amazing.
Thank you. You have a really good voice for radio.
Well, thank you. But, man, we were blown away by what you've done. And you have not let up here at COTA. You've been fast every session.
Yeah, we were fast here. We were fast in St. Pete. Had a really good qualifying there, an 8th place finish. And then we took that race pace, and then we kind of amplified it and made it better, refined it a little bit in some areas that we needed it to be. And then, car was spectacular here, and we obviously had a dominating end to the race.
I was here on Friday when you were out of practice, then you had to miss the second practice, so you probably had less time on track than anybody.
Yeah, I think I got like 7 or 8 laps after the first day, but it was good that they got the car back out. They got the car back out for the warm-up on day 1, so we got a little bit of track time. I think we got like 30 minutes of track time at the end there. But yeah, everybody did a good job. The boys did a good job getting it back together. Honda did a good job getting everything ready for that. And then, we were quick and kind of right back to where we were. We finished practice 1, P2, and then when we got the car back out there, we were P2 again, so we were right up there and knew we had the pace, got into the fast 6, and then, got a little bit lucky with the yellow, but I think we had a podium today, and then with the yellow, it kind of made us, put us in a great position to win.
The youngest winner of Indy, that's a special day for you. I saw you hug your dad, and it's always hard to step away from a famous name already. You've been playing against that all your life. But what about the team itself, for Harding and for Steinbrenner? I mean, it's so big for them too.
Yeah, I don't know what the best finish was before him. I think it was 9th, so that's a big jump for them. We finished 8th in St. Pete, so we beat it by 1 position, and then now with the win, it was incredible. You know, I would have been extremely happy just with a podium, but to get the win was surreal.
What about the season ahead? Obviously, Barber's next. You've obviously got the month of May coming up. I mean, does this change your aspirations? I mean, or is it just you still feel that all of you are new to this?
Yeah, no, we're second in points now, so it definitely changes it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could we could try and go for a title run. But yeah, I think we've done a spectacular job so far. If we can keep racking in these top 10s and stuff and then having some really good performances like today, we might end up with a really good year, and hopefully we can end up with a Indy 500 ring as well. That'd be pretty badass.
Oh,
nice. Go with the Rolex, huh?
Yeah.
Colton Herta, thank you for coming on Speed City. Congratulations. Amazing. We're going to be so excited to follow your career.
Thank you.
Pretty cool, huh? I thought I'd leave a little bit of that in there.
No, it's great.
Yeah, he was so young. We have a photo up on our YouTube of him.
That was him that week.
We took that photo in the media center. And by the way, he knows how to wear a hat better than all the cowboy hat better than all the Europeans we saw at Lone Star Le Mans.
Yeah, that's true.
He looks like it swallowed him up, but anyway. Yeah, and I was very genuine when I said it's going to be amazing to follow his career.
And
look
you
where he's
know,
going.
and there's no question. I brought up the Brian Herta thing. I mean, it's a double-edged sword when you're the son of Jos Verstappen, whether you're the son of Graham Hill, etc. But I noticed that when he got to Indy, he didn't have his dad, or he did at the start of his Indy career, but he got rid of his dad as his engineer, effectively.
Manager?
Not manager, but the guy on, basically the whole thing. Strategist, yes. And instead, Brian worked with Rossi. And that's they won the Indy 500 together when Rossi's first year. So I just thought that was a smart move by Colton. He has a great relationship with his dad, but they're not in each other's pocket, and I think that is healthy for both of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get a break in real quick, and when we come back, we got a couple more F1 stories for you, and we'll talk a little MotoGP, and then after that, in the next segment, we have a young guest, Nikita Johnson. You're listening to Sunday Night with Speed City. Back after this. All right, checking in on the YouTubers.
Tubi.
Carl says Max at the ring. Yep, we're going to talk about that, Carl.
Yeah. GT4 was he in?
It was a Cayman GT4.
Okay.
Because he was
GT4 car detuned because it's his first race at the track. About 350 horsepower.
This is all to get a license. He had an instructor. So how'd you like to have that instructor's resume now? He's updating his LinkedIn now.
Yeah. He had to take a written test yesterday morning.
Yeah.
To demonstrate his familiarity with the rules at the Nürburgring, which, as you could imagine, is a very different kind of racetrack for these guys. And they were using both the north and south versions of the track. The south that was built after Formula One stopped using the Nordschleife. So it is one hunk of asphalt. And,
it includes both tracks, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty
one great big long loop with
that's
the north
amazing.
and south circuits.
Casey, did you record all that? We can
really
just play it back when we go back on the air. Here we go. Coming back.
I'm George Russell, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, welcome back, Speed City.
George Russell.
If you wanted to hear about Max Verstappen's venture into GT cars, you have to tune in on YouTube because we just talked all about it during the break.
I'm delighted he's doing it. The only thing I don't understand is why this championship, why now, and what?
It had something to do.
To do with the
Bob,
Sim
did you
team.
read it? The team, the specific team. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's what it was. So anyway, Max
and
Verstappen.
also the fact that it's the biggest challenge in terms of the circuit.
Sure. The Nordschleife.
In all
Fantastic,
of motorsports. Yeah.
Hey, we had some news this week, last couple of days actually. Williams and Carlos Sainz protested the penalty that he had by running in when the cars came together at Zandvoort with Liam Lawson.
Correct.
And they overturned that penalty.
That penalty, yeah.
What do you think, Bob?
I think it's very much justified. I went back and looked at a highlight, saw the video again, and I agree that the stewards kind of got it wrong, that it was a racing incident at worst.
I agree. That's what I agree with right there.
The tough thing for, it's not so tough for Sainz. He had to keep the 10-second lap time penalty they got, but he finished 17 seconds ahead of the car behind, so it didn't affect the results and wouldn't have even if it did put him in another finishing position. But what the more important thing is, he got the 2 penalty points taken off his record.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
You agree with that?
Yes, and I tell you what,
do you think it should have been on Liam Lawson?
No, I think it was a racing incident, but I also think that I'm glad to see the FIA acting retroly like that and having the to go, we got it wrong and put their hands up. Whereas, lesser governing bodies would have said, oh, no, our decision is go away.
Yeah.
And I think I'm glad that is a possibility in this day and age because they've taken a lot of slack from everybody recently.
Right.
And I think it's good that they are acting responsibly.
Yep. I agree with all of that, and I think it should have been a racing incident at the time. Actually, when we went on live in the post show, I was like, I needed to watch it again. But since subsequent viewings, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, because those time penalties that are assessed after the race are really unfair. Make the decision at the moment as best you can, and we'll all live with it. But when you change the results after the race, somehow I recall somebody who really got boned by the stewards. I think it was Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. I don't remember the event, but they gave him this penalty, and everybody thought, "What?" So yeah, call the balls and strikes as they happen, and not later.
Yeah, that's another one of my bugbears. Yeah, for sure. I can't stand it when the FIA go into litigation for the next 2 weeks after a race and nobody knows anything.
Yeah. Right.
And we look stupid because we called it at the time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Before we go to the break and bring on our guests, I just want to touch on a couple of things. There's so much MotoGP business story. We got Guenther Steiner now, part owner and CEO of a team, and Liberty Media with all of what they're doing with MotoGP. But Max Verstappen
has an interest in getting involved in MotoGP, a huge bike fan, and Lewis Hamilton.
Hamilton as well. Right. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So we could have Guenther's already signed up. He's now owns Poncharral's KTM team,
Tech 3.
Yeah, Tech 3. And I think that the confidence that Liberty Media has given MotoGP has also, given some credit. I mean, it would do MotoGP a huge amount. Look what Jordan's done in NASCAR. I do think these are household names that will move things forward, and it goes both ways. There's a huge respect between MotoGP and Formula One.
Mm. And did you see what Guenther Steiner said? He said,
"Did it involve an F word?"
No. Well, no. Speaking of that was hilarious. MotoGP on the official account was so excited to tweet out that Guenther had dropped an F-bomb in the first 90 seconds of his official press conference. And they were so excited. The official account talked about it, but that's not what I was about to say, is that Guenther came out and said that they should not just cut and paste what they've done with F1 for MotoGP.
And if they do, that would be a mistake. Yeah.
Because he said they don't need to go and copy someone else because they can write their own story. I don't know what you do exactly for MotoGP, but other than give them a good platform and give them the right broadcast partners and all of that, the fundamental blocking and tackling. So I don't know what you do beyond that.
Get out in front of the American motorcycle fan.
I think they can both expose each other to likewise sponsors that cross over for one, like a Motul or DHL or whatever. But also, I think Formula One is in a much better position to bring in a roller, or bring in a Tag Heuer or a whatever, and make it uniform.
Okay, so the thing that came to my mind as you were saying that was maybe American social influencers. It's such a part of the, I know that sounds like a fundamental thing, but maybe you could get, you might have somebody that's a huge social influencer that says, "Oh, I love MotoGP," and partner up with them. Maybe something.
Well,
like
MotoGP's got the same problem that Formula One has, was where's the Americans? And what a segue!
All right, we're going to take a break because the segue is that we have a young American coming on the show. Nikita Johnson is going to join us right after this. I need to turn off the TV when we're in the studio when there's not F1 on, because Jonathan is so distracted by who we got, Eagles and Chiefs.
Yeah, it's just the repeat of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
Hey, both of my teams won. My Aggies won and my Cowboys won. Not that I really care that strongly about either these days. I don't know why. I guess I'm just too much into racing.
Both Georgia Tech and Georgia won against good opponents.
Yeah, and my daughter's team, Georgia won.
Hey,
last second way,
David Lawrence is here. He said, hey, gang, I've been watching, just dropped in for a comment. Hey, David.
Andy P says, look, Lando Norris and Kimi Antonelli are both MotoGP this weekend. They were both at MotoGP this weekend.
Well, there's some influencers for you to bring more people into the sport. Formula One drivers.
What are the chances we could have, a double duty weekend of MotoGP and Formula One?
Oh. Let's see.
You don't sound enthusiastic.
Sorry, Bob.
Bob,
Casey was in my ear with
Go
something
say it
else.
again, Bob.
Oh, I was going to say, let's have a double.
Hi, this is Jay Leno from JayLenosGarage.com, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, we got a couple more things to talk about while we're waiting on Nikita Johnson, and Jonathan's going to work on that. But Bob, you had a couple of stories in the show doc, and one of them caught my eye.
So.
We could have talked about it earlier when we were talking about Bobby Epstein, but you said Bobby was talking about how sprint races, how they've done for COTA, and what he thought about them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have 6 now, and I seem to remember that we said we wouldn't have many more, but apparently the demand for more sprint races has reached such a level that it'll be on the agenda at the Formula One FOM meetings to discuss how many more tracks, how many more sprint races will put to the Formula One calendar. And I think that's a positive thing. I like the whole sprint race format, and I'd like to see them in more places.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still kind of agnostic on them. I think I like them more than I don't like them. I got influenced by MotoGP because I don't want them in every race, and MotoGP is a whole different ballgame. But it's such a physically demanding sport.
Which is why I don't like a sprint race at every MotoGP, because it kind of, I don't know, it takes away from the weekend for me, and there's no build-up.
Yeah, you've always complained about that.
I've always complained about that. Yeah, it's just, it's hard to get excited on a Saturday morning and then get excited again on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are very excited to welcome our guest. Let's see if he's got his microphone going there. We have Jonathan. You introduce our guest because you know more than I do.
Yeah, he's from Florida. He's 17. I've known him a couple of years now. Him and his dad have been traversing the globe, and what I like about their approach is that they are attacking it. Literally, they are attacking the lower ladders of. Well, I say the lower ladders.
He's getting up there now. FIA F3.
He is FIA F3, GB3, Indy Next. Third in the Formula Regional Championship in New Zealand last year. And at just 17, he's piling up the experience, getting ahead, actually, of those his age. And frankly, I think he's probably the least experienced in FIA F3, but actually, he's now gaining what he needs, which is, miles at European circuits.
All right. Well, Nikita Johnson, welcome to Speed City.
Yeah.
How are you?
All good.
I see your doggy. What's your doggy's name?
There?
Dino, like Ferrari.
Hey, Dino. Hey, Nikita, what have you been doing this weekend? I mean, every weekend I try to get you on the show, and you're racing somewhere. What were you doing this weekend?
I was actually kind of coaching. I mean, I didn't do too much because my brother had it down, but
that's right.
He was racing in New Orleans.
That's right. Now he's the next Johnson coming up.
Yes, correct.
And is he any good? Is he as good as you?
Well, we'll see, but I think right now he's better, so we'll see if this progression keeps going. So.
Okay. I thought he was playing the real political game. We'll see. We're not really. He said he's better. I like that.
Nikita, I got to ask you the burning question of the day. Colton Herta, good, bad, indifferent, what he's doing in F2, and the fact that you could be racing him in 2 years.
I think it's good for him because that's been his dream. I think most people know that's been his dream to go to F1. And he's been in IndyCar for a few years. I think without Cadillac, it would have been a little bit tougher. But, for me, being American, I hope that he does really well, because if he does well, it looks good on Americans coming from Indy Next or even IndyCar coming into F2. There's going to be some big challenges, though, for him. Most of the tracks he doesn't know. And most of the tracks those drivers have been running in F3, F4, even in F2, they've been running it countless times. The tire is extremely difficult to get on top of. And then in practice, you have 1 or 2 push, qualifying 1 or 2 push, and then you go racing. So you almost get no track time in F3 or F2. And the tires are just extremely hard to get in the window.
I just, first of all,
keep them there.
Yeah. Nikita, I wanted to say you're in a good spot right now, by the way, because you're on Speed City. And I was just thinking, I was trying to just write down the names. I know Alexander Rossi came on our show before nobody ever heard of him. Connor Daly, Lando Norris, Lance Stroll. The list goes on and on. But who else can you think of, Jonathan?
Kyle Kirkwood.
Oh yeah, Kyle Kirkwood. Very good point. He did the booth with us. But anyway, you're in a good spot. Bob, did you have something for Nikita? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was glad to hear him mention the tire strategies as being potentially the biggest hurdle that Colton Herta would face. Mario Andretti once told me it doesn't take that many laps to learn the track, but keeping the tires in the window, keeping them from deteriorating to the extent possible, that's really difficult, especially in combination with the fact that Colton Herta has seen virtually none of the tracks that his potential rivals will be on. So interesting. Is there any, you might know this, Nikita, is there any Formula One track that your series does not race on?
Stadium, sorry, you cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does your series race on all the same tracks as Formula One at one time or another, not necessarily on the same weekend? Or are there tracks that are strange to you, all of you?
So in the F3 calendar, we race on all the F1 tracks on the F1 weekend. So we do 8 rounds of, I forgot exactly how many rounds they have now, but we do 8 of those total rounds. And then in GB3, we race at Silverstone, Hungaroring, and then Zandvoort and Spa. So we race 4 racetracks there. And then in FIA F3, all of our races are on F1 tracks. So 8 rounds.
That's really good. Hey, Nikita.
Yeah, that's a lot of information.
You growing up will have read this, and I'm sure you're well aware of the stigma, as it were, about Americans racing in Europe. Our last one was Sargent. Obviously, it didn't work out. Colton's coming along next. But you've now experienced both racing in the States and racing in Europe. Is it tougher in Europe? Tell us about your experience, because it has been, if you like, the trip up of many Americans is that they don't commit to racing in Europe, and it's held them back or made them so they're not noticed.
Yes, I mean, it's always hard to go compare, the U.S. racing and European racing, but I think the fact is in Europe you get almost no testing, no driving on the race weekends compared to the States, just by which how the format's set with those tires. With FIF3 tires, you have 1 or 2 push, and then after that you lose 3/4 for every lap that you're pushing on it, and then at some point it starts to even out. But that's the biggest problem in F3, at least, is that you get minimal track time. So you have to be extremely on it. You have to be 110% on your first push, and then you have to tone it back your second push and try to get the lap together. But I think in Europe in general, it's a bit tougher, just with all the competition. You have so many drivers from everywhere that are coming together and racing in those series. The US, we have a lot of drivers here, but it's just a little bit smaller grids, in my opinion. I think the top 5 for the US and Europe, maybe even the top 10, are the same. It's just the European racing has more depth to their grid. They'll have another 10, 15 cars that are really, really good.
Interesting.
So, Nikita, how did you get started? How did you get excited about racing? How did you get going?
So I was supposed to be a hockey player. That's
with the name Nikita.
Exactly, from the Tampa Bay Lightning. But I used to have a NASCAR seat. I think it was Jeff Gordon's, like little kid seat when I was growing up, to keep you safe when you're a little kid. So I had that. And then one day we went to go get the BMW serviced, and one of the guys there raced pro shifter karts around the country. And this is at Anderson Race Park, which later on we didn't know, but we'd end up racing for him in the Road to Indy, now USF Pro Championships. So we started at Anderson Race Park, and it just all took off from there. I was really, really fast for my first time. Most kids were a little bit slower. And then
how old were you?
Decided to go all in on it. I was 5, so a long time ago.
Okay. So you've been going for a long time.
And he is, in his career, in his young career, he's been runner-up in Pro 2000 and which is the other one? Pro and
Yes,
USF Pro.
Yeah.
And all of which you were breaking records at the time, I believe, in terms of age, right?
Yes, and then now they changed the age, so I think those records will still be there for a few years.
Cool.
That's cool.
And what's the plan? So you're watching your brother today. What else have you got? Because the FIA season is over, I believe. What else have you got? Have you got anything else for this year?
Yeah, so the plan is to go test in Europe in Euroformula before some of the F3 testing, and then I think we might go finish the GB3 championship, but we have to see how that goes with all the F3 testing, because right now the priority is to get an FIA F3 seat, which, as you can imagine, it's very difficult. You have 3 to 6 drivers fighting for every seat on a 33 car grid, and half the grid is second-year drivers that are returning, so it makes it really hard. But right now the priority is go get FIA F3 seats, so we're going to go do anything possible to help me get an advantage on the other drivers that may have more testing around those tracks than me and whatnot. So I think we'll do some testing this month in October, and then we'll go do that FIA F3 testing.
Cool.
And you did New Zealand already, because that would be a good off
Third in that, yeah.
Yeah. That
and the other really good thing that the way he's set up is that he's with High-Tech FIA F3, and of course there's a direct connection. It's not an academy a connection. It's direct connection to the Alpine team in that respect, or at least it was, given that their team manager or the team principal Ollie Oakes was part of that, but of course has since pulled away from Alpine. But still a good connection to an F1 team and a way to get noticed.
Okay, Nikita, I want to ask you about your friends, and are you still going to standard school? Are you doing all homeschooled? And then the question to go with that is, what about your friends? Do they now know Formula One? Do they know racing, and do they understand what you're doing?
So I just graduated,
Okay.
which was very nice, 1 year early.
Oh, nice.
To go focus on racing, of course, but the past few years I had to go online because I was gone pretty much half the year in Europe or somewhere in the States, so it just became too difficult to go in person. But being online helped me graduate a year, which was very nice. And then with all my friends, they've for sure taken a bigger interest in F1 and IndyCar. They've always known the IndyCar races and stuff like that because we live in St. Pete. So everybody goes out to the IndyCar races, but they never knew, like I could say anything more than IndyCar. They didn't know there was an F1 or NASCAR. So most of my friends are pretty well educated now, as you can imagine. They spend a lot of time around me, so they start picking up on all the little things. And then I have a racing simulator at my house, so I go bring them over and go let them crash on the sim. So it's all good.
I love it.
That's great.
Living the dream.
Well, almost out of time, Bob. We got about a quick question.
Okay. Have any Formula One or sports car, any other teams reached out to you?
A few sports cars teams, and Mike is always talking to all the F1 teams in the paddock, but as of right now, they're not really needing anyone because the F1 grid is going to stay the same for the next 3-4 years. So they're in a rush to get any junior.
Interesting.
That's true. We do have a lot of rookies in F1 right now, and and the 2 new seats just got filled. The reserve driver's still open for Cadillac, as we talked about.
And Nikita, last thought: are you heading to try to go the ladder to F2 and F1, or are you keeping it open? Indy still a possibility?
I will be still on the ladder to go to the F1. That's the goal as of right now. Go F3, F2, and go knock on F1's doorstep, and hopefully we could go get a ride there fast. And I'm not a reserve driver for a few years, but IndyCar is always a great option. I'd love to go do that at some point, but as right now, for my development and to make me a better driver, I would do F3 and F2.
Well, that's good news for American fans.
17 years old in FIF3. I think that's about right. That's pretty exciting. Yep. Nikita Johnson, thank you very much for coming on Speed City, and we wish you the best of luck, and we'll be following you.
Yeah, come on anytime and keep us up to date.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, guys.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Nikita.
Have a great Sunday.
You too. All right, gentlemen, we are out of time, and this coming week of course, we have Wheel to Wheel, Chris Medlin and I. As usual.
Azerbaijan.
And then Azerbaijan after that. I think I haven't looked at the start times, but hey, Casey, are we early? Oh, that's right.
Oh, my God, it's early.
Yeah, it's going to be early. But anyway, we got Wheel to Wheel on Wednesday, Chris and I, and then back to our regular pre and post and Saturday show for Formula One. Thank you very much for tuning in, however you did, YouTubers. Thank you, guys. Jonathan, Bob Varsha, Casey Johns, producer. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next week.
Happy trails.